Hey everybody, this is Phil from Brentwood along with Emily and Reed. We've been talking a lot about theologies of the cross lately during the season of Lent. Whenever you think about the meaning of Jesus' death, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Resistance to penal substitutionary atonement is the first thing that comes to mind.
I thought you were going to say like resistance to the powers that be.
That too.
And then you upped it. I like it. Yeah,
yeah, I think the murder of someone trying to change the world.
Emily, whenever you say a little bit about resistance, to penal substitutionary atonement, what do you mean?
I have a hard time believing in a God that requires the death of God's Son in order for us to be saved. It doesn't sound like a God I want to worship. If that is a requirement for faith, then
yeah.
I just can't get behind that one. That's not the one and only way to understand the cross.
Regarding penal substitution, the thing that was the most interesting to me was that it really doesn't even say the thing it wants to say. So if it says that God had God's Son die for our sins, like Jesus paid our debts, it's not actually God forgiving our debts then. It's someone paying for it. So if I owe you $300, Phil.
You do.
And I do, yeah. And then Emily is like, don't worry, Reed, I gotcha. Phil, here's $300. And then Phil comes to me and says, don't worry, I've forgiven you of your debt to me. Which you haven't. But the idea is, well, no, you haven't forgiven me. Emily paid it. What do you mean forgiveness? There was no forgiveness there. It was a payment.
There's always an if or a so long as or a, well, then that makes it not free anymore. It's not a gift.
The widespread acceptance of penal substitution shows that we don't really believe in forgiveness. And we don't really believe in a God of forgiveness. That is such a hard concept to hold on to, and we'd much rather create a system that rejects that and creates this rather convoluted trading system than accept something that's true forgiveness.
If you put a condition on it, it is not a gift.
So then what would you all say to folk who would think what you just said is not Christian?
I don't really feel the need to argue with people who want to tell me I'm not Christian. I mean, like, honestly, like when you first say that, the thing that I want to say is, well, I'm sorry that your view of Christianity is so narrow that it does not allow me to be in it, because I have no problem with you calling yourself Christian. I don't think that it should be a litmus test. And I'm not interested in arguing with someone about whether or not my understanding of the cross is Christian or not, because they're just not going to believe that.
Yeah. So then we all think that we can be Christians even though we may not necessarily believe in penal substitutionary atonement. And so if somebody comes up to me and they feel like something's being taken away from them, if the idea of substitutionary sacrificial atonement is a relatively new development in the Christian tradition, a lot of people hold that deeply. Like, why is that so important to hold on to?
For a lot of people, that's the starting point for their worldview. Or at least it's so entangled in the worldview. And it would require quite a bit of rethinking. And I think it would require thinking about questions of justice in this world. Right now, it's very easy, if you hold to penal substitution, to push off those issues, say, well, that's not what matters at all. What matters is that Jesus died for my sins. My sins. It is a great way to avoid having to reconcile, to recognize the problems that we have in our society. Yeah, I think it's a great way to believe in the status quo. And it's not at all shocking to me that it became the popular view in the world, and especially in the United States.
We're going to continue to unpack a lot of this during the sermon series during the season of Lent. We encourage you to show up at Brentwood Christian Church on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m. or just do only things online because of the coronavirus.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Then look online. Same YouTube channels you're looking at now.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'm
going to have a lot of fun editing this whenever I do coronavirus alert.
I almost touch my face at Zizek levels. I'm constantly doing that. And so then when I heard that, I'm like, I'm doomed.
I was channeling Wayne's World. You're supposed to go 4, 3.